Okay, let's take a look at these balance patches then, shall we? So, hi, it's Comptomus. Here's a walkthrough of the monster balancing work we will be carrying out soon. We've been paying close attention to users' opinions. Please note that the actual balancing patch may differ from the details below. The balancing patch will be included in the next update. So, basic disclaimer, so to speak, as they always do. So, Epicyon Priest, Wind, Soul Revival. Before revives an ally with 25% of HP and recovers the ally's HP by 15% each 2 turns. After, now revives a dead ally and balances the target's HP ratio to half of your HP ratio and recovers the target's HP by 15% each for 2 turns. So basically, if you have 50% of your HP left, balance the target HP ratio of half of your HP ratio and recovers target's HP by. That's kind of cool, I suppose. It's definitely a buff if you're above like a certain amount of HP. It's definitely a buff. So nothing game changing though. It's not like you're gonna see Epicyon Priest Arena Defense meta or Epicyon Priest Guild War Defense meta, I don't think. So it's there. Okay, Dark Viking, Furious March. Added effect increases the allies' attack bar by 30% each, according to the number of revived allies. So another revive buff. So the more that these revive units get buffed, the more that other revive units get nerfed. If you guys notice that. So like, if a revive unit gets buffed, then like Vanessa is like getting shadow nerfed, or like ninja nerfed. Shadow. It's getting ninja nerfed because other revivers are getting better than them, right? Or maybe not better than them, but a little bit closer to them. So interesting that they buffed 2 reviving units. Also Dark Undyne. So here's another one. Before revives a dead ally to return with low HP but a full attack bar. After revives a dead ally with little HP and grants a turn instantly. That's actually pretty good too. So as soon as you bring them back up, they're instantly gaining a turn to attack. That's actually, it's a small buff because instead of having a full attack bar, you gain a turn instantly. So I guess you could technically still get cut in between, but this is no, you get to go immediately no matter what. Drunken Master, increase the damage by 20% of Rolling Punch. 1 more drink, additionally attacks a random enemy with Rolling Punch skill with 30% chance. Fire Dark, Drunken Kick. After kicks the enemy unsteadily, gets drunk and attacks a random enemy with Rolling Punch with a 30% chance. Nice, so Rolling Punch seems to be like it's going to be activating a lot now. And they just buffed the damage of it. So it's basically going to be attacking a lot more. It's what it's going to feel like anyway. And then all of these added effects additionally attacks a random enemy with Rolling Punch with a skill with a 50% chance. So yeah, every single time you use a skill, you have an additional chance to attack with Rolling Punch, which is kind of interesting. Again, it's not anything that's super game changing right now anyway. Alright, so we have a dragon buff, Light Dragon, Zeroth. So added effect, light attribute allies will receive doubled amount of healing. That's interesting. So I wonder if light allies including itself would get double the amount of healing, because if that's the case, then that's a huge buff for Zeroth. Because he's healing himself double of what he normally does, which is actually kind of ridiculous. Added effects, attack won't land as glancing hits. Soul Crusher won't land as a glancing... Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, Armageddon. Decreases the cooldown time by 1 turn. Oh, wow, so it even has basically a cooldown reduction. A cooldown reduction is always a huge buff. Even though it's just 1 turn, it's still always a huge buff. I was like, Soul Crusher. I was looking at that. I thought the Armageddon like didn't have a chance to glance. I was gonna be like, it's light anyways. So would it still glance? I don't think it would, but Either way, a 1-turn cooldown is actually pretty sick. So, nice buff for Zeroth for sure. Especially if it heals itself double of what it normally does. Hell Lady Fire. Soul Crusher won't land as a glancing hit. That's actually pretty good. Sea Emperor Light Holy Ground increases the immunity effect up to 3 turns proportionate to the number of harmful effects removed from each ally. That's good. So it's a 3-turn immunity, which is nice. Phantom Thief Water / Light. Before randomly attacks the enemy. Okay, so after attacks the enemy target to reduce the attack speed for 2 turns and stuns the target for 1 turn with an 80% chance each. So just the chance to stun is different, which is pretty nice. It's Arrest, which, I mean, the Light Phantom Thief, even with a stun on that skill, I don't think it's going to be that viable either way. But it is a change, so there you go. Surprise Visit ignores all damage reduction effects. That one's a little interesting. I think Surprise Visit on the Dark one is definitely the more impactful one. Fire and Wind don't really do that much damage compared to the Dark one. Or, I mean, the Dark one's just the more used one for damage dealing, that I've noticed anyway. But if it ignores all damage reduction effects, I'm not sure if that includes, like, shields and stuff. If it does, then that's pretty good. That's kind of like Tosi's skill, right? Phantom Thief, Fire, Old Grudge. So they really buff these Phantom Thieves, actually. Increase your attack power by 50% when the enemy target is stunned or deleted after an attack. Decrease the cooldown by 1 turn. For Showtime. That's probably good for, like, TOA players, like newer TOA players. Add effect, decrease the cooldown time of Illusion Magic for 3 turns. If your HP is 50% or lower after balancing the HP. That's really good. Illusion Magic? Okay, that could potentially be viable if you're always healing, or not healing yourself, but like shielding yourself, then shielding somebody else, and then it lowers the cooldown. That's actually a pretty big buff. So with that plus the stun, that might be kind of fun to mess around with. We'll see. Maybe like Guild Wars and maybe RTA. We'll see. The Dark One, Elaborate Plan, passive. Now increase your critical damage by 50% and increases the chance of receiving a glancing hit by 30% and gains invincible effect for 1 turn if you're attacked with a glancing hit. That's big. So you gain invincibility if you receive a glancing hit and you put up a glancing debuff on you. So even if you use it with, like, say Kabila or something, then you're gaining the glancing buff, and if somebody glances against you, invincibility. Plus you have the buff from the other one. That's actually pretty sick. Surprise Visit, right? If you're ignoring all damage reduction effects. That's pretty good. I can see the Dark One being used a lot more now, honestly. And then we have a Lagmaron buff. That's a unit that I have. I'm excited about. Okay. Inflicts damage proportionate to your attack power. Goes to inflicts damage proportionate to your attack power and speed. So that's Lightning Strike. So attack power and speed. So you still build it fast, and it's going to do a lot more damage. That's awesome. And then they buffed... Oh my god. They buffed Pungbaek again. Added effect, if you defeat an enemy with your first attack, the damage inflicted on other enemies will be increased by 30%. That's probably pretty good. I bet you that's really good. So if it's increased by 30% and the damage is already 50%, so if you hit, let's just use round numbers. So if you hit the first strike for 100,000 damage, right? Like, say you just have this beast of a Pungbaek. Instead of doing 50,000 damage to the other units, which is like 100% going to happen, 50,000 damage, right? That's what it normally is. If you kill the first unit, which is almost always going to happen, the damage inflicted to other enemies would go to 80,000 Or would it be 30% of 50,000? So would it be like 65,000 damage? But I can see that doing... that's a big change for Pungbaek. If it does 80%, so if it does 80,000, which is 80% of the first skill, that could be great. You're still searching Daphne's buff, you can't find it. I bet on 80,000 damage on other. Or 30% of the 50k. Dude, if it does 30% of the normal damage, that's huge. That's huge, guys. You're gonna wreck people so badly. And I'm so happy that I have a Pungbaek that I can test it out and show you guys when it actually goes live. That's gonna be awesome. And then, so the Drunken Master's leader skill, they get an HP, attack, accuracy, attack speed in guild battles. Frankenstein's, the fire one's the main one. A defensive leader skill, that's so clutch right there. That's so clutch. Fire one gets a defense. Of course the fire one gets a defensive leader skill. That's gonna be so good. For people that don't have like Leo or I don't know, like pandas or whatever. Or who else do you put it with? I don't know. Either way, having a defense leader skill on Bulldozer is sick. And then just a couple other fixes here, skill error modification. Nothing too crazy, but honestly, I'm pretty excited about this Pungbaek and Chimera change. So hopefully I'll test them out as quick as possible for you guys. So stay tuned for that. And if you guys are watching on YouTube, just keep in mind I am doing a $100 giveaway. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys subscribe and also comment on the video as well. And yeah, good luck on the giveaway. Anyway, peace for YouTube.